Section 15 of Great Pirate Stories. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Very Real. Great Pirate Stories by Various. Edited by Joseph Louis French. Section 15. Jaddi, the Malay Pirate. Jaddi, the Malay Pirate. 16. Long before that action with the English man of war, which drove me to Singapore, I sailed in a fine fleet of prahus belonging to the Rajah of Johor, Sultan Muhammad Shah. We were all then very rich. Such numbers of beautiful wives and such feasting! But, above all, we had a great many most holy men in our force. When the proper monsoon came, we proceeded to sea to fight the Bugismen of Celebes, and Chinamen bound from Borneo and the Celebes to Java. For you must remember our Rajah was at war with them. Jaddi always maintained, in which he had been engaged partook of a purely warlike and not of a piratical character. All 13 prahus had all been fitted out in and about Singapore. I wish you could have seen them. Tuhan, Yuan, Sir, these prahus we see here are nothing to them. Such breast guns, such long pendants, such creases. Malay, Chris, dagger. Allah, Allah, our Datus, Datuk, a chief, were indeed great men. Sailing along the coast as high as Patani, we then crossed over to Borneo, to Ilanun prahus acting as pilots, and reached a place called Sambas, West Borneo. There we fought the Chinese and Dutchmen, who ill-treat our countrymen, and are trying to drive the Malays out of their country. Gold dust and slaves in large quantities were here taken, most of the latter being our countrymen of Sumatra and Java, who were captured and sold to planters and miners of the Dutch settlements. Do you mean to say, I asked, that the Dutch countenance such traffic? The Hollanders, replied Jaddi, have been the bane of the Malay race. No one knows the amount of villainy, the bloody cruelty of their system towards us. They drove us into our prahus to escape their taxes and laws, and then declare us pirates and put us to death. There are natives in our crew, Tuhan, of Sumatra and Java, of Bianca, or Bangka, and Borneo. Ask them why they hate a Dutchman, why they would kill a Dutchman. It is because the Dutchman is a false man, not like the white man, or English. The Hollander stabs in the dark. He is a liar. However, from Borneo we sailed to Belitung, island between Bangka and Borneo, and Bianca, and there waited for some large junks that were expected. Our cruise had been so far successful, and we feasted away, fighting cocks, smoking opium and eating white rice. At last our scouts told us that a junk was in sight. She came, a lofty-sided one of Fukien. We know these Amoy men would fight like tiger cats, for their sugar and silks, and as the breeze was fresh, we only kept her in sight by keeping close inshore and following her. Not to frighten the Chinamen, we did not hoist sail but made our slaves pull. Oh, said Jaddi, warming up with the recollection of the event. Oh, it was fine to feel what brave fellows we then were. Towards night we made sail and closed upon the junk, and at daylight it fell its dark calm, and we went at our prize like sharks. All our fighting men put on their war dresses, the Ilanoons danced a war dance, and all our gongs sounded as we opened out to attack her on different sides. But those Amoy men are pigs. They burnt joss paper, sounded their gongs, and received us with such showers of stones, hot water, long pikes, and one or two well-directed shots that we hauled off to try the effect of our guns, sorry though we were to do it, for it was sure to bring the Dutchmen upon us. Bang, bang, we fired at them, and they at us. 3 hours did we persevere, and whenever we tried to board, the Chinese beat us back every time, for our side was as smooth and high as a wall, with galleries overhanging. We had several men killed and hurt. A council was called. A certain charm was performed by one of our holy men, a famous chief, and 20 of our best men devoted themselves to effecting a landing on the junk's deck, when our lookout prahus made the signal that the Dutchmen were coming, and sure enough some Dutch gunboats came sweeping round the headland. In a moment we were round and pulling like demons for the shores of Britain, the gunboats in chase of us, and the Chinese howling with delight. The sea breeze freshened and brought out a schooner rigged boat very fast. We had been at about 24 hours and were heartily tired. Our slaves could work no longer, so we prepared for the Hollanders. They were afraid to close upon us, and commenced firing at a distance. This was just what we wanted. We had guns as well as they, and by keeping up the fight until dark, we felt sure of escape. The Dutchmen, however, knew this too, and kept closing gradually upon us, and when they saw our prahus bailing out water and blood, they knew we were suffering and cheered like devils. We were desperate. Surrender to Dutchmen we never would. We closed together for mutual support, and determined at last, if all hope of escape ceased, to run our prahus ashore, burn them, and lie hid in jungle until a future day. But our brave Datu with his shattered prahu saved us. He proposed to let the Dutchman board her. Crease, step with a grace. All that did so, and then trust to Allah for his escape. It was done immediately. We all pulled a short distance away and left the brave Datu's prahu like a wreck abandoned. How the Dutchman yelled and fired into her. The slaves and cowards jumped out of the prahu, but our braves kept quiet. At last, as we expected, one gunboat dashed alongside of the prize and boarded her in a crowd. Then was the time to see how the Malay men could fight. The Crease was worth 20 swords, and the Dutchmen went down like sheep. We fought to cover our countrymen, who, as soon as the work was done, jumped overboard and swam to us, but the brave Datu, with many more, died as brave Malays should do, running amok against a host of enemies. The gunboats were quite scared by this punishment, and we lost no time in getting away as rapidly as possible, but the cursed schooner, by keeping more in the offing, held the wind and preserved her position, signalling all the while for the gunboat to follow her. We did not want to fight any more. It was evidently an unlucky day. On the opposite side of the channel to that we were on, the coral reefs and shoals would prevent the Hollanders following us. It was determined at all risks to get there in spite of the schooner. With the first of the land wind in the evening, we set sail before it and steered across for Bianca. The schooner placed itself in our way like a clever sailor, so as to turn us back, but we were determined to push on, take a fire, and run all risks. It was a sight to see us meeting one another, but we were desperate. We had killed plenty of Dutchmen. It was their turn now. I was in the second prahu, and well it was so, for when the headmost one got close to the schooner, the Dutchman fired all his guns into her, and knocked her at once into a wrecked condition. We gave one cheer, fired our guns, and then pushed on for our lives. Ah, sir, it was a dark night indeed for us. 3 prahus in all were sunk and the whole force dispersed. To add to our misfortunes, a strong gale sprang up. We were obliged to carry canvas. Our prahu leaked from shot holes. The sea continually broke into her. We dared not run into coral reefs on such a night, and bore up for the Straits of Malacca. The wounded writhed and shrieked in agony, and we had to pump, be fighting men, and bail like black fellows. Kafra on negro slaves. By 2 in the morning we were all worn out. I felt indifferent whether I was drowned or not, and many threw down their buckets and sat down to die. The wind increased, and, at last, as if to put us out of our misery, just such a squall as came down upon us. I saw it was folly contending against our fate, and followed the general example. God is great, we exclaimed, but the Rajah of Johor came and reproved us. Work until daylight, he said, and I will ensure your safety. He pointed to a black storm which was approaching. "Is that what you fear?" he replied, and going below he produced just such a wooden spoon, and did what you have seen me do. And I tell you, my captain, as I would if the company Sahib stood before me, that the storm was nothing, and that we had a dead calm 1 hour afterwards and were saved. God is great, and Mahomet is his prophet, but there is no charm like the Johor one for killing the wind. Footnotes 16 from the Indian Antiquary, Volume 49. End of section 15.